Oh, there we go.
You good?
Mm-hmm. What's up, everyone? Starting in a moment. Just getting things set up.
Chad Green went to the Blue Jays.
Okay. I didn't even know he was a free agent. Any details on contracts?
Yeah, you need a second. It is a 2-year worth $8.5 million.
Huh. Interesting.
And he's coming back from Tommy John.
I forgot about that underrated.
Which explains why it's a 2-year contract.
Yeah. Alrighty. Alright, let's begin. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to this week's episode of Benny and the Booth podcast. On this week's episode, we've got NFL Conference Championship games, recap, and takeaways. We've got MLB news and more all coming up. Let's get right into it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to episode 64 of Benny and the Booth podcast. Thank you so much for the support to this point. I very much do appreciate it. Crazy week this week with football. Even I've had a little bit of a crazy week myself. Obviously, it's never fun to start episodes on a serious note, but this one is on a little bit of a serious note. This week episode is going to be in honor of the memory of my step-grandfather, who I called Z Memphis, or more known as Alan Cutner. He late Saturday night passed away. Was a great man. I was happy to get to know him for as long as I did, for like 10 years at least. Very great person. Sadly passed away. But this episode is dedicated in his honor, and hopefully he's doing okay, and hopefully up in heaven. But yeah, I wanted to start with that. Otherwise, there's not really much other special notes to put out outside of this week's episode. So let's get right into it. So, conference championship games. Thank you. So I will admit, because the funeral was Sunday, I didn't watch a lot of the games this week, but I did watch bits here and there, and I was aware of what was going on. But let's start off. Eagles 49ers. I got this prediction right. I was not expecting it to be a blowout, I will say that. But really, this game was over within the early first quarter. Eagles struck first with a touchdown. But once Brock Purdy went down coming off a strip sack fumble, which turned out to be a torn UCL and out for the next 6 months, that basically shut the door because San Francisco had to go to a fourth-string quarterback. And they were basically almost in a case scenario where they would have had to go to a real emergency quarterback situation, which is possibly would have had to been either Christian McCaffrey, running back, who they got at the deadline, or fullback Kyle Juszczyk. It didn't end up having to go that far because they brought back Brock Purdy out. Whether I don't think they knew it was a torn UCL at the time, but they brought him back. But it was all Eagles. Niners would tie it, and then Philly just would take the lead and not look back, winning 31-7 completely on the ground in this game. I mean, Hurts made some throws, including a controversial one-handed catch by Devontae Smith that they rushed the line to avoid a challenge, which if you would have gotten a second look, it would have been overturned because he clearly was not able to control the ball as he was going to the ground. But in the end, it didn't matter much because Philly won 31-7, and Philly's off to the Super Bowl for the fourth time in their franchise history, and for the second time in the last few years since 2018. For the AFC Championship game, this one was more tightly contested. Back and forth game mostly through the night. Only field goals early, but then things started. Then each team started getting a bit more action. There was one controversy, and I didn't even see this until later, with the Chiefs getting an extra down. Basically, what had happened was third down, and I think it was like 3rd and 4 or something, and something was up with either the game clock or the play clock. I forget which one was messed up, and they were trying to. Snap was taken, but the refs were trying to stop the play, but it didn't get stopped quick enough. Play happened and was short of the first down, so it would have been 4th down and Chiefs punt. However, the refs ended up giving the Chiefs back to 3rd down because of the whole clock mismanagement. It didn't lead to anything, but as a controversy. The big takeaway from this game is simply how one late hit can change, can put a final nail in the coffin. Basically, Kansas City was driving downfield. I think it was like 2nd or 3rd down. Mahomes took it himself, got a 1st down, was going out of bounds, and as he was going out of bounds, Joseph Ossai, defensive end or defensive tackle, one of the two, for the Bengals, hit Mahomes out of bounds late, which is a flag, and instead of what would have been without the flag, at least 50 yards, if not more than 50-yard field goal, turned to be a 45-yard field goal thanks to the flag, which led to Kansas City's game-winning field goal, which sent them to the Super Bowl and sent Cincinnati home. I was wrong on my prediction for this game because I thought Mahomes' injury would affect this game more. It clearly did not. Mahomes was limping again, but it wasn't apparently effective enough to hold the Chiefs from winning this one. So Chiefs are off to the Super Bowl, and we've got an intriguing matchup in multiple ways. One, it's the Kelsey brothers going head-to-head in the Super Bowl. First brothers as players to be going head-to-head in the Super Bowl. The closest we've ever had was the Harbaugh Brothers Bowl in Super Bowl 47 between the Ravens and 49ers. Another connection between the two teams is that both at one point, one currently, one in the past, was head coached by Andy Reid, who is the current coach of the Kansas City Chiefs, and he used to be the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. So should be intriguing Super Bowl. I'm not going to be giving prediction just yet. I want to wait till we get closer to the Super Bowl. So next week I will give my prediction. I will admit I have my prediction ready, but with Pro Bowl being this week, and I'm not going to be talking about the Pro Bowl. If you want to go watch it, that's up to you. But honestly, the Pro Bowl is not really much of anything to watch, to be honest here. So yeah, that's it for NFL. MLB to the news since last episode. So as I had talked about back in March, like September, even October, I was obviously talking about the WBC qualifiers, and one of the teams that had gone through the qualifiers and have qualified for WBC 2023 WBC, which is coming up in a few months, in March. Was that the Czech Republic made it all the way through the qualifiers to advance to the main tournament. And the Czech Republic themselves, though it's come out on a few channels now since they posted it, came out with their own documentary about the team. It came out yesterday. It's on the Czech YouTube channel. It's on the WBC YouTube channel and MLB YouTube channel. I have the link to the MLB YouTube channel, which I would recommend either WBC or WBC's version or MLB's version, because both have better English systems. Because it's mostly like people speaking in Slovak, and unless you understand Slovak, you probably want to have some English to understand what they're saying. And there is an English speaker involved, aside from like announcers from the game and oddly enough English music. But it's best if you watch it through the WBC or MLB channel. It is a great documentary. I would recommend it. I did get to watch it yesterday. Phenomenal job they did with it. And it just really was interesting because it taught me a lot about the team. Definitely would recommend go check it out. The link from the MLB channel is in the description. Go check out the description for that. But yeah, I just wanted to insert that because it's a documentary I would definitely recommend. Even if you're an adamant baseball fan, I think it's still a great documentary to check out no matter what. Anyway, so there's been some moves, nothing crazy, not necessarily a lot crazy since last episode, but there has been some stuff since the last episode of the podcast. Richard Bleier got traded from Boston to Miami for Matt Barnes. It is odd trade. Both have had seasons recently. I don't know. See how that plays out. Josh Harrison signed a 1-year deal with the Philadelphia Phillies. Cesar Hernandez is now a Detroit Tiger on a minor league deal with spring training invite. Darren O'Day has officially retired from baseball. Someone who's been pretty good reliever over the years. More recently, not so much, but has been with a whole bunch of teams: Braves, Orioles, Bay Yankees. But mainly his good years were with Baltimore. Jesus Aguilar signed a signed a 1-year deal with the Oakland Athletics, and Aroldis Chapman will be with a new team this year with the Kansas City Royals on a 1-year deal. That's pretty much it for baseball news, and that is it for this week's episode of the podcast. Let's wrap things up. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Benny and the Booth podcast. On next week's episode, we'll have Super Bowl preview to go over, and we'll have MLB news that pops up between now and then. Thank you so much for watching. If you are new on YouTube, leave a like, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell so you're notified when I go live and or post a video. If you are new on audio, follow the podcast. Leave a review and hit the notification bell so you're notified when I go post on there. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and I will see you next week for episode 65. Bye!